welcome to this week's Facebook Live. Thank you for watching live, and thank you to all those who watch in replay here and on YouTube. This week we're going to talk about controlling behaviours and some things you can start to do to let go of those patterns of behaviour. So, we can become very obsessed with trying to control everything and everyone around us, and sometimes we don't realize we're actually doing that. So as always, the first steps here are going to be about awareness, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But we can liken this type of behavior to trying to use your body to hold back a flood of water, and it's just, at certain level we know we're like, this is crazy and it's an impossible task. And at the same time, we just keep doing it. We just keep repeating the same patterns. So, we're giving that full attention. And it's not healthy attention. We can give healthy attention and healthy energy to things that need to be done or to help somebody in a healthy way. But this type of behavior is unhealthy, and the amount of attention we're paying to it to try and control things that are outside our control. We're trying to control other people's needs and wants and behaviours. And in doing that, we're actually failing to check our own behaviour. We can become quite manipulative, and we can become quite passive aggressive in how we deal with people and situations. So we're looking at people pleasing, perfectionism in there, and this can leave us feeling quite exhausted. It is exhausting because you're constantly throwing energy at everything and everyone else, and there's nothing on ourselves. There's no focus on ourselves. It's all external. And the thing we need to remember here is we cannot change anyone else but ourselves. And when we're attempting to do this controlling behavior, we're actually missing out on the joy of life itself. We're missing out on accepting and loving people for who they are. Now, that doesn't mean you accept bad behavior. You hold healthy boundaries with that person, but you can still accept them and love them for who they are. Because if you're doing controlling behaviors, there's no way you're in healthy relationships with anybody. Because we're disrespecting them, and we don't trust anybody. And we're not trusting ourselves, and we're not trusting we're not respecting ourselves either, to be able to hold a healthy boundary and still get our needs and needs met. So how do we let go of this type of behavior? As I said, the first step I would always say to people is awareness, because awareness is vital. If you want to change anything, you need to be aware that you're doing it in the first place. So how does the behavior manifest in you? What are you doing? What types of behavior are you doing? What habits are you using to support this type of controlling behavior? Because there will be habits there. What people and situations are triggering you? And this is what we have to keep in mind. We have to keep those 3 questions in mind, and they're in the blog if you want to go and get them and write them down. Keep this in mind when you think of the next steps I'm going to talk about. So step 1, it's almost like going to, if anybody's gone to a 12-step program, they'll know this. We admit, what we cannot control. You basically, I admit what I can't control, and this is about awareness. So I cannot control other people's behaviors, their feelings, their thoughts, their emotions, their beliefs, their mistakes, their words. Okay? Can't control them. I'm not responsible for those people. Okay, I'm talking about adults here now. I'm not talking about your children. I'm talking about adults. Even if they're adult children, you're not responsible for them anymore. Okay, they're adults. They have to take responsibility for themselves, their feelings, their thoughts, their emotions, their beliefs, their behaviours, their mistakes, and their words. That's what you're trying to control. They need to take that on and be, recognise that they have responsibility for that, just like you have responsibility for those things. We also have to recognise that certain situations Or what happens as a result of certain things is out beyond our control. You know, it, and that can be very hard to feel comfortable with, that awareness of those two things, particularly if you've been using controlling type, controlling behavior, to actually stand back and do just even this part and say, yeah, I'm doing this, to actually admit to yourself, yes, I do that. And to then, decide, yeah, I have to do something about it. And that can feel very, very uncomfortable at the start. And it takes time sometimes, to recognize that you simply cannot control everything. If you've been doing this behavior, and it is a habit, really, it is a habit type of behavior that you've gotten into. So if you've gotten into doing it, it can be hard to actually, say, yeah, hands up, I do this. Um, I cannot control the outcome. I cannot control that person anymore, whatever they're doing. So you can just imagine a codependent would be somebody who do this type of behavior. So they tend to do a lot of people pleasing or perfectionism. We can only take responsibility for our part, and then we have to let the outcome go. Just have to keep in mind too, when you get to this stage of awareness, is remember this behavior is actually sapping your energy and your joy in your life. It is causing your stress and your anxiety, and this will reduce when you finally decide to let it go. So think about that. Think about, what are you doing here? What are you trying to control here about somebody else, about situations that are really, maybe they're not even your business. Maybe it's somebody else's job, and you're taking responsibility for their job and they're getting paid for it, but you're doing all the work. That's not good. So step two, we recognize what we can control. Again, this is still on awareness. Awareness can be a huge step, and people think awareness, oh yeah, I'm aware of that now, let's jump into action. Slow down, okay? Get real awareness here. And as I always say, have some acceptance for yourself. So part of this recognizing that this is what I can control is also to say, yes, I accept me. I accept this is where I am. I am the only person that I can control and change. I can control my thoughts, my words, my feelings, my emotions. You mightn't think this, my behaviors, my beliefs, my mistakes, and my effort. As a person, that's what I can control. When we do this, when we admit this to ourselves, then we can start to look at, accepting it and saying, yeah, this is where I'm at. Now I can be more proactive when I do take change, when I do make any changes. But remember, awareness and acceptance are actionable steps. You're taking action here. And then we can see, when we do that, then things get real. The change can be lasting, and it can be positive for us. Okay, it can really lighten the pressure on ourselves when we start to shine the focus in on us. It's hard work, I know that, for those of us who have done it. But when you're shining the light out there and you're trying to control everything, it is exhausting. Take some of that power back and look at yourself and do all the things you want to do instead. You can take the necessary steps to achieving your own life and what you want to do. So you're taking back responsibility for yourself. And therefore you can't do the victim, and you can't do the blaming and the martyr or anything like that. You have to give up those that come with this, those types of things that come with this type of behavior. The next thing we do is, number 3, we actually start to look after ourselves. So we freed up some of our time by stopping, externalizing. We're aware we're doing it, and at the same time as trying to stop that, because it's not going to stop overnight, we take some of that energy and we start to do healthier habits for ourselves. So we look after ourselves. So what we're trying to do here is we're introducing something that's more positive for us, focuses our attention on ourselves, and shoves out the other stuff, the need to control others, and what's going on out there. Okay, this is what we're going to do with this third step. Is actually we're going to do it all simultaneously. We're going to have to start shoving in some basic self-care habits. And that means then that when you start to look after yourself, we can be more present for other people. So check out the videos I've done on basic self-care. I have a book on it. Check that out. It's a workbook you can do step by step. It introduces one habit at a time. There's 12 of them in total, and you bring these things back into your life and you start looking after yourself, and you'll find then that that's actually like a ripple effect. It'll ripple out to other people around you, and you won't feel the need to start controlling people around you. So when we start to do that as well, what we're doing here is we're actually setting healthy behavior. Setting healthy boundaries. It is a healthy behavior, but we're also setting healthy boundaries with ourselves and with others. And sometimes that's for the first time in our lives. Okay, if you've been at this controlling behavior for a long time, then you're very much have no healthy boundaries and you don't have healthy relationships. So you need to take responsibility for that by looking after yourself, shining the focus in on yourself. You are now taking responsibility and you are setting healthy boundaries. This can be difficult to do on a consistent basis, okay? Again, because you're not used to doing it, okay? They tend to be habits that we do. So be persistent. You will have slips, okay? You will have slips because people will try to draw you back in, particularly if they've been using you. They've been manipulating you because of your controlling behavior, your perfectionism, maybe your codependency. People will try to manipulate you and get you to do things for them that isn't your responsibility. So, you will have slips as a result because you're used to doing it. Maybe used to being everybody's doormat. So let the slips happen, okay? They're going to happen. Don't beat yourself up. Keep going. Learn from them. And the most important thing is keep going. Reinforce it. If you've said yes to somebody and you didn't mean to, go back and tell them no. You're entitled to change. Change your mind if that's what you need to do. Number 4, and this is, we look at the nature of our relationships and we try to nurture the positive relationships here. Again, we can do this while simultaneously working on all the other stuff, and we build a positive support system around us. We acknowledge that we need help and we ask for help if that's what we need. We start to respect ourselves and trust ourselves, trust our gut. I've done a blog and a video on trusting your gut and how you can do that again, and how to accept yourself more. Do check those out if you need to, and how to build a positive support system for yourself as well, because that is what you're going to need to do. So when we're starting to do this, then when we respect ourselves, when we trust ourselves, that again ripples out to others, and we're changing the dynamic of the dance that we do with people. So the toxic ones tend to, not be getting what they needed met anymore because you're not doing it. That they'll run off to somebody else. But if they don't, particularly if they're family members, or maybe you're stuck in a job and you can't change immediately, that, you would take some steps to minimize contact with those people and to try and let go of the toxic people in your life. That's the whole idea there. Eventually, if you can, or to minimize or only deal with those people on your terms, not their terms, on your terms, which will be from a healthy boundary position, healthy relationship position. So when we're building this more positive supporters around us, when we're starting to respect ourselves, when we're starting to trust ourselves, set those healthy boundaries, look after ourselves, we're actually gaining more compassion and gratitude and positivity. And believe me, you will gain serenity from this, and you won't want to let that go. Trust me, I've been there and done that more in the t-shirt. You will not want to let that go, this serenity. You won't want to go back to doing this. So if you can do that, then that again, it's like a ripple out effect, you know, from dropping the pebble in the pond, it ripples out, and we have more compassion and gratitude. And compassion is different from empathy. So again, I've done blogs on those, so do check those ones out. You know, so think about what you want from this. I'd say if you're watching this and you're saying, yep, that's me, and you're feeling exhausted, most people get to a point where they do feel utterly exhausted. Um, Remember that the behaviour is a habit, and it's one you probably learnt for a reason. Um, and it could have been because it was supporting you in some way, it was protecting you more likely in some way, and it could have come from childhood maybe. It could come early back, as far as then, or it could be that you had a relationship that was quite toxic at one point, and you entered into this behavior. So that habit built up over time, that behavioral habit built up over time, and it takes time to change a habit anyway. Give yourself some time, give yourself some patience with yourself. When we're patient with ourselves, we're more accepting of ourselves. And that's vital if you want to be proactive when we take action steps rather than reactive. So please be, please be patient with yourself and accepting. And as I said, yeah, there will be slips. So, just learn from them. Everybody does them. Even if you've been doing very well for a long time, we can have a slip. So think about what you can do to support yourself better next time. Maybe that, I need more support. Maybe I need to reach out to those positive supporters, get them to back me up, or maybe I need something a bit more. So if this has become overwhelming for you, or you recognize that this is something very toxic that has built from your childhood, or you're in an active relationship with an addict or something like that, then please reach out to a local therapist. There are some great 12-step programs out there. Al-Anon for codependence. There are other ones as well. So please reach out if you need help. That's vital. But things will change very rapidly, and you will build great supports in a 12-step program. So have a think about that. So I'm going to leave it there for this week, just to say that this is the last video of the summer, last blog of the summer. I'm taking most of the month of August off for my holidays, my summer holidays this year. Bit longer than usual. But I need to recharge my batteries too. So I will see you at the end of August. The next blog out will be the 28th of August. So it's all scheduled and ready to go, and I will see you then the following Friday for a live video. Have a good summer holidays. Enjoy yourself. Stay safe out there. As always, if you have any questions, I'm only too happy to answer them. Just let me know. I'll see you at the end of the summer.